Hello everyone, this is Melanie from Lightbeam's Treasures. Now, I've been wanting to do this video all week. I'm finally getting an opportunity to have a little bit of time, but tonight is actually going to be the after party of The Masked Singer. They're inviting all the singers to come in. We're all going to be talking, reflecting, giggling, laughing, just talking about the whole journey of The Masked Singer. But what I wanted to do in this video, as you've probably seen, I've already started presenting my songs. I showed The Internet is Porn, I showed Barbie Girl. I actually do have a few other songs that I recorded. I may or may not show them, but we'll see what happens. But I wanted this to be a video documentary on what happened, because for me, The Masked Singer actually started out very emotional, and in a weird way, it's ending emotional as well with what happened with Tommy's channel. But every step of the way, I cannot begin to tell you how fun it was, how excited, how it really, I mean, it's hard to explain. I don't have words. But let's start off with the beginning. So we're going to go back to December. At this time, I was doing auctions with Donna flipping Frozen, and she mentioned that she wants to join The Masked Singer. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she says, yeah, Tommy from Bargain Effect is holding a contest. He's asking for entries. And I'm like, seriously? So they were doing videos up until that point where they were announcing like the rules and this and that. So I would jump in and listen to it. And I said to Donna, I'm like, are you going to be doing it? She's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, oh, no, you got to do this. So I ended up, they wanted 2 songs submitted by December 15th. And right away, I submitted 2 songs. And the 2 songs I submitted was Bette Midler's The Rose and Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. That was the order I wanted to do. I wanted The Rose first, and then Simon and Garfunkel the second week. I have to say, I cannot tell you how fearful I was. I literally, when I was recording those songs, I'm shaking, because when it comes to singing, I have extreme stage fright. A lot of people don't think I have stage fright, even with these things. When I'm on YouTube, I have, there are times that I like literally will turtle up and be afraid to talk. It happens a lot of time when there's multiple people, so I think I'm going to be a little worried about tonight. However, we'll see what happens, because in this setting, I'm literally talking to myself. That's why most of the time I do pre-recorded as opposed to lives. With the auction lives, technically, I'm only getting a little small snippet of airtime before you go to the next person. So it's like I can calm myself down and recoup with my fear and anxiety. So the idea for me to be singing, I was terrified, and it stumbles. It goes back a long way. I've always been teased. People tease me about my voice. People tease me about my singing. People tease me about my weight. I mean, it's like it's bad enough if people just tease all the time. So I learned to cope with the teasing through laughter and through reaction. So the first 2, I wanted it to be serious. For me, Bridge Over Troubled Water and The Rose are beautiful songs. And I wanted to fill people with like a sense of beauty, but I realized something, and this is what I'm going to talk about. So obviously the first week was The Rose. Everybody did an amazing job. When it came to the second week, here's where the problem happened, and it was devastating. Tuesday, we were supposed to have an auction with Donna. I was not feeling well at all. And I even wrote to Donna and said, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to cancel tonight's auction. Go on without me. Now, I actually spoke with her the previous day. We were talking about a couple of things. The first thing we were talking about was The Masked Singer. And I'm almost glad that this wasn't the last thing she said to me. But she was talking about how she was like upset that the sound quality didn't come out good, and that she feels like she made a fool of herself, and she was upset that she knew she was being voted off. And actually, you could look at it from both ends. It turns out that every week we knew exactly who's being voted off and who's not, simply because after you vote, you could go back in and it shows the results. And you don't even have to, and when you go back in, it says you already voted, but it would still show the new the new results. So you knew up until the last moment who was going home, who was not. So she was a little upset by that. But that wasn't the last thing that she said to me when we talked, because and that's what I hold to my heart, because too many times people's last words hit me really hard. I've had multiple times in my life where where I was the last person that somebody talked to before they moved on. And in this case, I'm really upset because I was the last person to talk to her. And the last thing that she thanked me for was that she just got her package in the mail. It took forever because of the whole delay in postage. And she was so happy that I put in blankets for her kitty cats to stay warm. That was a little surprise I did. I shoved a package with a bunch of blankets, and I wanted the kitty cats to stay warm. The tragic point of that is Tuesday, Donna passed away. Now I didn't find out right away. What ended up happening was I was feeling very sick on Tuesday, so I didn't go to the auction. The next day, I noticed in my email they mentioned that there wasn't any auction whatsoever. And I'm like, has anybody gotten a hold of Donna? Has anybody? And now we come up to Thursday, Friday, because Friday we're supposed to have another auction, and Donna hasn't even mentioned anything um, about the auction, and nobody's heard of her. So then I start getting into a frenzy. And the reason I get into a frenzy is because, do I do a wellness check? Um, I say this because there were times that I should have done a wellness check on somebody, and I chose not to. And I didn't want history repeating itself. So I said to myself, I have to do a wellness check. So I started, and I'm thinking how to do this. Do I just call the police? So what I did was I started contacting her family members on Facebook. And I know that's a weird way around it, but through the power of social media, it's amazing the information that you can pick out. The second case scenario is I already knew Donna's address. I was even tempted to contact, since she was in an apartment, to contact the landlord, this and that, but I was actually having trouble doing that, so that's why I reached out to her family. That happened to be Friday morning, and I found out that Donna passed away. She passed away on Tuesday. It was a peaceful way that she passed away. She simply was at her computer and she slumped over to her death. I was devastated. I mean, it really, really, really hurt me. I know it hurt so many other people, but that's when I secretly, well, it's not secret now, but at the time, I contacted Tommy and I said, Tommy, I have a question for you because this is really an awkward situation. What should we do? And he's like, well, what's going on? And I says, I know Donna was voted off this week. Donna just passed away on Tuesday. As of right now, I'm the only one that knows that Donna passed away. And the family is specifically saying, don't say anything. Because at the time, the family didn't know that she had such a huge online presence, that she did auctions, that she was on Facebook. They didn't know. So we talked a little bit about what could be done and came up with it. Well, it turns out by 5 p.m., the family made an announcement. And I told Tommy, I'm like, Tommy, it's official. Family made an announcement. Everybody knows that she passed on. So that's when they decided that they were going to honor her by playing her song, and that they would it was a sad thing because I think she played a Christmas song. I forget what the Christmas song is, but I remember during the Christmas song that she was singing, she was talking about the angels in heaven. I don't know why I can't remember the song, and I can't go back to look at it because the videos are not there. she was the first contestant that week and she was voted off, I started crying listening to her song. And then the worst part is when they get to my song. And that week's happened to be the one that I submitted all the way back in December. I mean, at this point, we're in the second week of January, and the song that I submitted back in December is playing, which was Bridge Over Troubled Water. Oh my God, did the tears come down? In fact, I couldn't even speak in the chat. It was so sad, and like my husband had to calm me down and everything. But that weekend was so overwhelming because I'll be honest, between Donna's death, that week also there was a friend of mine who was missing in action, ended up being in the hospital with COVID, but since then everything's fine. I then also received notification that day on Friday that a friend of mine was in a bad place and wanted to commit suicide. He literally wanted to take his truck and plow it into the first brick wall that he found. And I come to find out an hour later, he was in a truck accident. Coincidence? Not a coincidence. He survived, but I think it was a major wake up call that maybe he realized that the end is not the best thing to do. Taking your life is not the best thing. And then on top of that, that same evening, as if that wasn't enough bad news to begin with, that same evening, another friend reached out to me because she wants to go back to cutting and she feels how miserable her life is that she wants to take her own life. So I will be honest, I was not in the right frame of mind. I was in a bad, bad place. And that all happened in that one day. I mean, even my husband said, you can't be worried about other people. And I said to him, I'm like, why is it always me? Why am I the last person that has to hear somebody alive? Why am I the last person? I mean, why do people, when they're at their lowest in their life, come to me? They don't come to me on a normal, everyday basis. But when life is hitting their rock bottom, then they reach out to me. And I realized something. I always bring light to people. They call me light for a reason. I'm a fun, huggable, lovable laughter person that loves to have fun. Oh, I dropped something. Oh well. um, but that was very, very, very difficult that week. So from that point on, I said to myself two things. Because at that point, I now needed to start submitting more songs. And when it came to contestant number 4, brought so much laughter. Oh my God. Contestant number 4, we had no idea who it was. We were teasing because it sounded like some drunk older woman that was just drinking too much and partying like, ah! So from that point on, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to sing, I want the reaction of happiness. I don't want to be crying with the rose. I don't want to be crying with Bridge Over Troubled Water. I want that same happiness that if you hear this song, you're going to crack up laughing. So what do? I pull out one of my funniest favorite songs from Avenue Q called Internet is for Porn. And let me tell you something. Of all the songs I sang, that's my favorite. Hands down, that is the one song of the entire competition I had so much fun making. And even now, I still talk about it. I had fun with that song. I love it. So I did Internet is for Porn. So then I said to myself the week after, and I was still going through. And of course, I'm looking at and it's just amazing that people actually are loving it, liking it, cracking up, laughing. In fact, at one point, I was being compared to Oscar the Grouch and Elmo. That's actually a compliment. I love it. Um, so the next song after that, I wanted to do a twist. Since the first song was Internet was for Porn, let's do the complete opposite. And what I did was Madonna's Like a Virgin. And of course, that's bringing even more comedy because wait a minute, you're going from porn to virginity. I think there's a problem with that. And then the last and final, well, the last song before the whole fiasco happened with Tommy's channel was Barbie Girl. And let me tell you about Barbie Girl. Barbie Girl for me was really hard because I lost my voice singing that song. I did. I when I finished singing that song, I had such a sore throat. It because it was using all of my throat muscles instead of using my chest. And my final song, I really wanted to be Somebody to Love by Queen, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get the karaoke version of the last chorus part. For some reason, I am thinking they didn't translate the karaoke version correctly because it just was not coming out correct. So instead, I did Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I did not record myself singing that. I probably should. This way I could have presented. But I realized with Bohemian Rhapsody, the beginning I was off key, but the part where you're singing the piano, I did pretty good. And I think I did pretty. There's a funny part where they hit that really, really high note, and I'm like, oh, hell, I can't reach that note. At least I could say I could laugh about it. But the thing about Bohemian Rhapsody, I knew one of two things was going to happen. Either I'm going home or I'm winning. That was the fact with that. And I think the most powerful line in that was goodbye everybody, I got to go. Got to leave you all behind and face the truth. I that just for me that was a great ending song because if I did go home, goodbye everyone. That's my goodbye song. So I will say this, this has been an amazing journey. Before this competition happened, I never knew Tommy. I never knew Bargain Effect, Dez, Shamrock Pixie. I didn't even know who Trent was. Well, once Trent took over, joining forces with Johnny in the morning show, then I knew who Trent was. But it's like this opened up the door for so many people that I've never met before. And in meeting these people, getting to know others, even Rosie, Rosie's Closet, I only met her once when she did an interview with Paul Antonelli, and I got to learn about her store, her incredible like 1950s uh, pinup style, which I absolutely love that. But I would have never thought that that was Rosie. I would have never thought that contestant four was Johnny. Simply Dana, oh my God, that one song, Amazing Grace, I wanted to go to church. And believe me, I don't go to church. So she sang her heart out on that one. Trend every week was Country Boy. In fact, I did want to hear his last song. Maybe he'll play it on his channel, or I don't know if he did or not. But supposedly he did old time rock and roll. Everybody did an amazing job. And if I'm forgetting anybody, I think I got everybody. I may or may not be forgetting somebody. I'm sorry. But each week, everybody gave it their all. It was entertainment. It it made my Friday night something to really smile about. And it was funny how we had to go straight from the auction straight to the show, which is going to happen tonight. We are having the auction, and then I'm going to go straight on to the Masked Singer, and tonight will be the final night. So I hope you enjoyed this little behind the scenes of the Masked Singer. This was my perspective. I can't wait to hear other perspectives of what happened on their end and what the highlights and what the down points and all that other stuff was. So with that, this is Melanie from Lightbeams Treasures. Take care and have a good night.